Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We are going back to the territories to a degree this week on the NWA Power Review. And as you can see, I am the front man. Yes, front man, Adam Cousins. Dave, you're not getting all the gimmicks, my friend. Okay, you've got enough. I've got one that suits down to the ground. But anyway, Dave's not here. It's not Dave's turn. It is NWA, which means there's only one other person that always joins me. And this week I can call her the NWA Queen because Kenzie and Kylie won't want to rip my head off. It is Miss Fiona Loughlin. Good evening.
Good evening. I can't believe I lost my moniker just because the two of them were on. For God's sake.
I'm not taking
Where's
it.
your loyalty?
Well, listen, like if next year when they come over, I wasn't going to take the beating. They can, I was, having to play it cool. I think it was Boyo was the last person I had to give you that
Yeah,
that mantra away from you on. Don't worry, it won't happen going forward. Well, much. Um, depends who we get on it. Of
noted.
course. Back to the territories. We must say for everyone that big congrats to NWA for the NWA 76 show. I heard tickets were just as difficult to get as they were Oasis ones this weekend.
Sounds like it. Standing room only from what I've heard. The photos that I've seen from the arena are amazing. It looked absolutely packed to the rafters. I'm so delighted to see that for them.
Yeah, it looked really good. I was getting earlier on that week. I was looking. I was like, oh, there's quite a lot available, but they all got gobbled up, and which was really good. Standing room only. If you have seen spoilers, that's up to you. We haven't at all on this show seen anything at all.
Moving on.
We need galaxy bars. That's what we need, to put it that way. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, congratulations to NWA for NWA 76. We can't wait to actually view it on the CW app via VPN.
Whenever that'll be.
Whenever that will be. There was no announcement. That was I was going to get to. Billy didn't. Well, no.
What was that all about? Like, that's like, I was buzzing thinking it was going to be something and then nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. It's disappointing. I don't know what the announcement was going to be. I have no idea, which is why I was looking forward to hearing it. All we were told was exciting news about the future of NWA and nothing. Do you
Nothing.
think that they think we might have forgotten that he said he was going to do that?
Don't know.
Or do you think he's jumped the gun on something and then it's not gone the way it was supposed to go and he's not been able to make the announcement?
Yeah, it could be some contractual thing that's prohibited Billy from making any announcement the weekend. I know something did happen with him at the weekend. It involved some blue guy from ACW back in the day, but we'll get into that, I suppose. Well, I'm assuming that'll be aired on the NWA 76. So no spoilers here, guys. But for all in all, congratulations, great show. And we look forward to watching it as and when we get to it on the CW app. But we won't get to it this week because it was Back to the Territories Part 1. One gripe. It says the word Back to the Territories, but this week contained no wrestlers from the territories other than our usual lovely NWA people. So slightly disappointed with that one, Fee.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Would have liked to have seen a couple of the newbies, but next week we are definitely going to get that because we'll get to one of the matches next week, which we should be getting some talent, shall we say, from the territories. We'll get to that. Really interesting. It's from Knoxville. Now I know why Kenzie and Kylie are so hyped about Crossfire Wrestling. When you see the crowd, I mean, I love that arena. I don't know, but I thought that was a great place to have it.
Old school gym hall? Like,
Yeah.
what speaks more nostalgic wrestling than an old school gym hall?
I loved it. I thought it was so good.
Like all the lights on, everything, the
Yeah,
place just lit up like a blooming Christmas tree. Just
and you can see the
and you
merch
get to
stall over
see,
the
you see the
back.
hot dog stand, you see
Yeah.
the soda stand, you see the merch stand.
Ah,
Just the way it should be if it's going old school.
wrestling done right in old school ways. Brilliant venue in Knoxville,
It
Tennessee.
kind of reminds me of some of the shows like you go to over here. To be
Yeah,
honest with you, it's
does. I tell you
that's
what,
my ice cream van.
it kind of, yeah, was what?
It's the ice cream van if you can
Go
hear
on
it. I'm
in,
so
get a cone.
blasting outside the house.
Go and get a cone. I'll have a flake. And there's probably nowadays with flake with inflation, probably cost about a fiver. No. nowadays with prices of ice cream. You're tempted now, aren't you? You want to go and get a
No,
plate.
I'm really sorry, but it set someone's car alarm off. So if that's making a lot of noise, I'll go and shut the window.
No, it's fine. We can listen to a Carl. I'm in Scotland. You're probably used to it. Going off, but no, great arena for this. Loved it. NWA didn't start how we normally see it. It didn't have it did have a cold open, but it was later. It started with a back end of a 25-man Cardona Battle Royal.
Carneyland Battle Royale.
So Carneyland being the series with William Patrick Horgan. If you haven't seen it already, it's on the CW app. It's also on Apple, is it now? Is it
Apple TV, yep.
Apple TV? Go and check it out. Great series. Gives you a really good insight of NWA and everything that Billy juggles. Many hats with no hair to juggle, with no hair to put under the hat or under the hat.
You know how that feels.
Yeah, I know how that feels for sure. I still haven't got my wig yet that we mentioned the other week. But yeah, it started with the back end. There was only two guys left. One was Colby Corino. The other guy was Spencer Slade. We had, I think it was Rolando. Was it on the outside? Was he?
Orlando was ringside, yep, with Spencer.
With Spencer. And it ended up the winner of this match would actually take on EC3. We didn't know when at this point, but Colby eliminates. It was a classic old school elimination as well. Had him on the
Loved it.
shoulders.
Loved it.
As he went to do it, he put the legs around across his neck, threw him, and flipped him over.
Perfect.
And Colby wins the Battle Royal.
So good.
It was. I'd love to have seen it all.
I
Maybe
know, that's my gripe. You
I
see the
was
end of it.
thinking NWA might release it on their YouTube channel because they release these free matches, didn't they, every so often, and perhaps they'll
Yeah,
put it on there for us.
that would be cool.
I'd love to have seen it. Funny enough, I did see some form of when I saw the pictures, some of the pictures of the territory show, but it may be more next week's one because there is something to come out next week similar, which we'll get to. But anyway, that brought out obviously Carl that was going to interview Colby, but then Cardona comes out. Actually, I lied.
Cardona Executive Officer.
Yeah, there was a cold open out of before that, with Colby basically saying, "Look, he's coming out of his dad's shadow, and to win a title, you've only got to hold someone down for 3 seconds, and he believes you can hold it."
And that makes it sound really simple, doesn't it?
Oh, it sounds like anyone can do it, And that was probably the point he was trying to make
Yeah.
during the show. But then it cut back to the ring. And then the opening, sorry. The territory
Old
opening.
school video opening. It's like
Oh,
something out
man.
of the 80s. It was glorious. They've even changed the logo to look like almost Atari like the t-shirt that they've got and
Yeah,
everything.
got it.
I loved
Oh,
it. I'm glad that they went all out in terms of didn't have the normal power opening. I'm glad that they've done something special for this because it works so well.
whoever done that, by the way, deserve a raise, but I didn't tell you that. It was glorious. I loved it. I think even the music has changed. I think for this, it just took you way back to how
It did. It really did.
the NWA was maybe back
Yeah.
in when we were born. In a lot of sense, I know it probably makes us sound really old now.
80s glorious babies. Although I was a 70s one, but we'll not talk about that.
That's your weekends. That's you for example in the 70s. But yeah, it just took you way back, and it was so refreshing to see. Then we finally get back to the ring, and as you say, what did you call Cardona?
Cardona, he was like CEO, the Cardona Executive Officer.
Cardona executive officer. Billy was touring at this point.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like, Billy's been touring, and apparently Cardona is the one and only person that he trusts to oversee the running of this show.
And he did give Knoxville a very warm welcome, telling him that it sucks.
Yeah, like he was doing the whole, oh, you can do better than that. And then he turns around and takes the legs out from underneath them.
And they replied
I'm
with
not
it.
surprised.
And of course, Knoxville brilliantly replied with "You're an arsehole" to him, which is
Yeah, that was funny.
awesome. But he did say that the Colby Corino shot would be later on tonight, which is very interesting. He's just won a Rumble, and he now gets a chance to take on EC3 later on in the show, which we're going to be. I mean, I was looking forward to that match anyway. And
to be honest, I must have missed that was happening because today or yesterday was the first time I'd kind of heard about it. And I was like, really? So I've obviously successfully managed to miss the spoilers from this Back to Territory show or missed a post somewhere along the lines. But I, when I saw that, and I was like, okay, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I definitely missed that as well because I did. Because when Colby posted about he won a battle royal last night, so Monday night. And I took a picture. I was going to send it to you, but it was quite late. And I was like, oh, when did this happen? But I didn't. I sent it to you earlier on today. Once I knew it'd come out that he was facing
Yeah.
EC3, and then I kind of put two and two together. But yeah, he goes it later on in the show against EC3. The main event is BFT Knox and Murdoch for the tag titles. But before we get to both of that, entrances are back this week and for the next few weeks on TNA, Jesus, on NWA. I need to get my words. I've got things going around my head.
I don't. That's
Sacrilege,
blasphemous on this show.
blasphemous sacrilege in this show. Yeah, Billy will not be impressed with me calling them, especially those three letters. Anyway, but entrances are back on Power this week. And it started really, I wouldn't even say controversially. It was really weird. So Markova comes out for a 4 millionth title shot since I've been watching NWA, but this time she was taking on the non-binary Nightmare Max, which we all assumed, and even Carl Davis said was for the.
Would be for the women's TV championships, although Max holds both the male and the female belt.
Now, it was also pointed out during this point that Max had already established Lucky Seven rule, which basically means for those of you
So
that know,
they can cash in at any time for a championship match for the women's world championship match whenever they feel like it.
so Max being Max and James Mitchell being James Mitchell just threw the belt on the floor and was getting all
Well, that's
confused.
it. They threw the belt on the ground, and I was like, "What is Max doing?" And Jared Fritz is the ref, and he kind of picks it up, and he's like, and then you see Sinister Minister having a wee word, and then Cardona comes and the referee, and then Cardona comes and the referee chats to Cardona, and then Cardona goes back to Kyle, and
Announces that Max the Impaler has decided to invoke that Lucky Seven rule before the match starts with Markova. So he will be show Max will be taken on Kenzie at NWA 76 for the women's championship, and this match right now is going to be non-title, nothing,
so
nothing.
Markova has. Regardless of what happens, if Markova wins the match, she's not winning the TV title. So the TV title is now vacant.
Vacant, and that means Markova's only had 3,999,999 title shots on NWA since I've been watching it. But the match then fine. Max got a great cheer as well when Max.
Max was so over. The crowd there loved them. Absolutely loved them there. Like, and there was a comment on commentary saying that I think Max had been involved in another match
Casket
previous.
match last time they were there.
Yeah, casket, that's right, casket match.
Yeah.
So the crowd seemed to love them, and Max did not get they didn't get the negative response that I was expecting. There seemed to be quite a lot of people in Max's corner, so they definitely got a good reception.
Until the whole title thing happened, and then they got a nice boot for that. So maybe it was more James Mitchell than Max, but they did get. Then the match finally got underway. Markova a really quick start. I think Markova was pissed at this point.
No wonder.
Yeah,
I'd be raging. I nearly said a really bad word there. I'd be raging. I'd be absolutely fuming if that was me in her position, thinking that I'm getting a shot at a title for the title holder to vacate the belt before the belt starts.
indeed. I would be in the same boat. She started very quickly on Max, doing a lot of the kicks as well. Those kicks that she's been very familiar for. Max then did start to get the power back in, and once Max starts to hit, you're in trouble at that point.
But give her due. Markova held her own, and Markova is one tough little cookie. And she will keep coming back. And she did keep coming back against Max.
It was like a dog with a bone, wasn't it? She was very much like, I'm going to keep coming at you, coming at you, coming at you. Max was
Yeah.
doing what Max does and just, the power game and everything like that. But Markova hit a big drop kick off the top rope at one
Oh,
point.
that was a belter. That was an absolute cracker that actually took Max off their feet.
It did. And then I was worried about how Markova landed on that because it looked like it was quite a tough, very close to the neck where she
Mm.
landed. And I was like, oh, was she all right? Because it looked a bit, she was fine. She got straight up for the cover, got a two. And as we got nearer the end of the match, she then hit a beautiful disaster kick. Now, usually the beautiful distraction kick,
That's in the turnbuckle in the corners.
usually
Yeah,
this was on the ring apron and knocks Max outside the ring. Jim Mitchell then says, "Come on,
let's
off you go.
go.
Let's go." And she did, and Max did, and got counted out. So
That's it.
Markova wins. Was never going to win the title anyway because the title wasn't on offer because it was vacated before the match. And then she gets a count out victory over Max is still a good victory.
It's pretty impressive. Well, that's actually going to look quite good on Markova's books, to be honest with you. But I get the impression Max wasn't overly happy about that.
Yeah.
I
Max,
think they looked a little bit sort of like, what the hell's this? Why are we like?
oh,
But
yeah.
they went with it and off they went. I'd have been disappointed. Not gonna lie, right? Markova's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
I do think she's a good wrestler. She's
Yeah.
just not my favorite. Um, in her shoes, I'd have been pissed, I think.
Mm.
That's not how I would have wanted to beat Max.
Yeah. No, I would have wanted to beat Max cleanly, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't have stood a chance me personally. But if you were in there, you'd want to win as clean as possible. So, and I get why Max is annoyed as well. But I suppose a bit of tactical bit from Jim Mitchell. We don't know obviously how close this was to NWA 76, so you don't want an injury. You're going against Kenzie, who's the women's champion, who's obviously this time last year, because NWA 75 night one, Max pretty much decimated Kenzie. And Kenzie was even said it herself. She was absolutely decimated by Max. So
Yeah.
she's a year stronger, a year wiser, a year more knowledgeable as well. So perhaps there's a bit of a tactical piece from Father Jim Mitchell at that point.
Who knows?
Only he knows, and he won't tell us. So we're
Hmm.
going to have to play the we don't know game on that one. But nevertheless, Markova, as we said, impressive win. She will be in the Burke Invitational come NWA 76, along with many others, including Kylie Page and Tiffany Nieves will be in that as well. I'm not sure of La Rosa Neg. I think she's got a match.
There was Negro's on there too, yeah.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Can never remember
Who
these
else? In
things.
fact, out of your NWA wrestlers, actually, who else have we got?
Well, Kayla Ross is in there.
Your
She's not on normal.
NWA wrestlers are Tiffany Nieves, Natalia Markova, and La Rosa Negra, yeah.
And Kylie Page.
And also former women's champion Santana Garrett
And Kylie.
and Kylie.
Okay.
Sorry.
Don't forget Kylie. Don't forget Pretty. I need to get a Pretty Empowered shirt. That's what I think.
Yes, you do.
Danny, can you help? Pretty Empowered shirt. Speaking of shirts, your merchandise will be ready to pick up for me soon, so I'll be sending it over. You'll be getting some Hitting the Turnbuckle merch from me to you, so you'll be able to wear that on shows that we do going forward. So yes, in the making. Love the shirt that I got made for me. So they're in production now, so it won't be long. Then you get your own shirt. Interview with EC3 next. I mean, it was just pretty much hyping the match with Colby Corino, and he was basically saying he's going to beat Colby in
Yeah.
a nutshell. That's pretty much.
Because he's over, man.
Well, he is the overman, yeah, because he is overman. And that match was next, and it was a match I was really looking forward to. Obviously, Colby Corino for me, I just can never.
I love him.
Yeah, I
I
just
love
can't get his dad out of my head because you just look at Colby and you're like, is that Colby or is that Steve? Like, because it's just, and ridiculously, the look is just, you look at Steve Corino back then and you look at Colby.
mm,
The resemblance is like, you can never say it wasn't his. That's for sure. If that
that's it.
battle ever
Cannot
come up.
deny that child.
Yeah, you can't deny that. This was, I loved it.
This was everything I hoped it would be.
And more, and more. You had that technical speed from Colby Corino. You did have EC3 with the power and trying to slow down a little bit but when it slowed down, Colby got technical.
Yeah, like honestly. And he kicked off with some huge arm drags on EC3
Yeah,
at the vet, like from the outset.
yeah,
And then his little show off on the ropes as well, which made
yeah.
me giggle. That was funny. That was like, yeah, well played, Colby.
Yeah, good on you, Kobe. It was just, I mean, it was. I can't wax lyrical about this one. One of my favorite matches in NWA.
Yeah, and I loved his springboard into the cutter. on
Yeah,
EC3.
springboard
And
cut.
I was just like, well played, mate. I love EC3, but I was really rooting for Colby in this.
Yeah, me too. I thought Kobe might do it. The sun set up for a near fall. Then he hit the big one, the DDT
That
that
no one's ever kicked out
nobody
of.
has ever kicked out of. He's
Zed's dead. His little
Zed,
Zed's dead, DDT.
and he
That's really
kicked it.
hard to say. Zed's dead, DD.
Yeah, I just call it the
Zed's dead,
ZDDT.
DD.
Z.
Always there's like an extra D in there somewhere for me.
Don't worry about that. The EC3 kicked out about 2.9. And then Kobe went to the top rope. And we saw the naughty side of Mr. EC3 pushing the referee onto the rope, causing Colby to crotch, and then the money maker, and that was a vicious one as well, by the way. He jumped like hell for that power driver. I mean, again, a power driver banned in some federations,
Yeah.
not in NWA. Oh
Mm-mm.
no, no, sir. Hit the moneymaker power driver for the 1, 2, 3. So somewhat tainted victory for the champ, but a victory nevertheless.
And that's what counts, isn't it?
It is the 1, 2, 3 to the mat. EC3 retains, gutted for Colby in this. Really wanted him to get the victory and
He's
bit.
such a talent. I could watch him all day.
He's brilliant,
He's so entertaining.
and I kept thinking to myself while watching this match, I was thinking, WWE's loss because he
Mm,
go to WWE, right? Was NWA's gain
yeah, absolutely.
during this. And coincidentally, somebody else in women that's actually just been released as we're on air, nothing to do with NWA, but we could be seeing her in the NWA. Who knows? Giselle Shaw from TNA has been released from her contract as we've been on air today. So who knows? There could be another.
Giselle could be a good addition to the NWA roster, actually.
Would be an awesome addition to the NWA roster should that happen. But yep, just broken as we've been on the air. So I thought I'd mention it as a potential pickup at some point or the odd match on NWA. Who knows? But that was brilliant. NWA Colby Corino EC3 was outstanding match. I could.
And that would have been my main event of this show if it wasn't for the main event.
Yeah, yeah, definitely so, definitely so. But I might even watch that match again later, actually, because I was watching it in between lunch and doing some stuff.
Scribbling notes and stuff as
It
well.
is difficult because obviously I watch it on my phone, so I have my phone up against my laptop. I was eating lunch, I was writing my notes, and I was still seeing what emails were coming in through work on my lunch. So I was like doing three different things at once. I didn't, I've got enough written down, but I need to watch it again without having to write down notes because I would have.
Yeah, you get, I know where you're coming from because you scribbling notes down so you've got stuff to talk about. And
Yeah,
sometimes I will go back and watch it to get more enjoyment out of it because my full focus is on the match as opposed to
yeah.
so I should learn shorthand.
Yeah, yeah, learn shorthand. It's a difficult when you're trying to write especially when there's spots going on and you're having to write spot down that you want to remember to say on the show or a word or a phrase from comedy. Danny Dills was doing, I don't know what the hell he was wearing this week on Power. I mean, Joe looked all dapper in his sort of
And
throwbacks.
his little old school jacket. And even Kyle had a kind of old school jacket
Yeah,
on,
he
which
was he was in a suit this week as well. And Danny Dills, I don't know. I mean, that was like a green and black number, whatever that was.
Danny's a lot unto himself. But I
Yeah.
would like to look through that gentleman's wardrobe. I think it could be very amusing.
I think someone takes a look of Seth Rollins' wardrobe as well, and not sure what some of his misses' stuff doing in there, but that's another story for another time. But Danny Dill's looking dapper, yeah.
As always.
As always, he's definitely dapper. He's got to do me a deal on a pretty empowered shirt anyway, so he is definitely looking dapper. You mentioned the main event. BFT Knox and Murdoch. I don't know what rivalry has been more crazy in NWA, this one or the Knox and Murdoch and the Southern Six, because they've been on collision courses like near enough every other week. It's one of these two against the other. We've had Knights of the Round Table with BFT. We've had steel cages with Southern Six. This was just a standard tag match, but it was for the NWA Tag Team Championship. It kicked off with an almighty brawl as well.
It did. But just to point out, just a reminder as well, just because this is quite important, Knox and Murdoch had Smalls and BFT had Aaron with them,
Oh,
and
of
they
course.
major players in this
Oh,
particular match.
yes, yes, yes. They certainly did. Aaron's always a major player in these matches, especially when when it's needed, or even when it's not needed. In this case, just barking orders or just trying to distract Knox and Murdoch. But they come out. It was a big brawl to start. Trevor took the brunt of the punishment during the mid part of this match. He was
Mm.
waiting for that hot tag to Knox. You were waiting. I'm pretty sure, and I glanced away. So you're going to tell me if I'm wrong. Did Aaron get hit in the balls?
He did.
Thank you. I thought that
But
I tried.
prior to this,
Yeah,
prior
no,
to
because I
that
missed
point,
something.
fairly early in the match, because Knox and Murdoch kind of had the advantage. Aaron, the jacket came off, so Aaron was meaning business here. The jacket, the 500 million pound jacket or whatever, Danny seems to think it cost him. The jacket came off, but Aaron actually led BFT to the back.
Oh, I missed this bit. That was
So they tried to leave.
wow. Try to do a max.
Aaron was like, "Come on, let's go, boys. We've had enough of this." Because obviously Knox and Murdoch were better than them at this point.
Hmm.
Knox and Murdoch did what any contender for a championship would do and make sure they didn't leave and promptly threw them back in the ring again. But it wasn't long after that there was a smalls to the balls of Aaron. But then there was also the issue with the loaded gun, which was actually the loaded gun, the loaded glove before that point.
Done.
Not loaded gun, loaded
It
glove.
wouldn't surprise me.
Aaron actually, Aaron actually has a little sneaky shot on Trevor's ribs,
Did see that. Yeah, I saw that bit.
with that slightly dodgy looking glove. And then Smalls was like, "I'm having none of this," and that's when Smalls makes his move on Aaron, basically.
And Aaron gets one in the nuts, or in the balls in this case.
Smalls to the balls.
He did. Now, the loaded glove wasn't finished, though. You did
Mm-mm.
touch on the loaded glove. It goes to be used again, but this time, Noxie gets hold of the loaded glove.
He does. He does indeed.
He hits Aaron with the loaded glove.
Because why wouldn't you?
Well, I think he's deserved of it, of the amount of times he called it.
Give him a little taste of his own medicine.
Indeed. And then he was going to use it. The referee was there. The referee's attention was turned to the side, and he then did use the loaded glove, indeed. And at that point, that was on one of them. I think Damage, it was then a drop kicked, knocks into the corner when you're thinking, hang on a minute, that's his finisher, right? I'm sure the drop kick's his finisher. I mean, if he hits another one, it's all over. Trevor
Yeah.
at this point is now up behind Damage. They hit the high low, the finisher. One, two, three. We have new NWA Tag Team Champions, the former Crockett Cup winners, Knox and Murdoch. And you're loving that, aren't you, Fee?
I am loving this, honestly. Like, popped. Absolutely popped. I love Trevor and Noxie so much. They are Trevor particularly as the embodiment of what NWA is to me historically. Just he's old school, and I popped when they won the Crockett Cup last year, and if there was any tag team that deserved that win, it was them.
They've certainly been through it with them, haven't they? In
They have,
a lot of
they have,
different matches.
and I wish them. I just want to say congratulations, Knox and Murdoch. I wish you a very long, very happy, very fruitful reign.
Indeed, and maybe they will cross paths for the titles of the Southern Six. We know that's a match at NWA 76. Whether or not that's for the tag team championships or not remains to be seen. But another great main event. Let's just run down next week on Powerr very quickly. We will get to see, I'm assuming, some of the territory stars next week because they're doing a Mid-American Rumble next week.
Whatever that means.
Now,
Is
did
it
they
a
not?
belt?
Did they not bring back the Mid-American
An
champion?
American Championship?
So if they
So
did,
potentially a new belt. Well, not a new belt, but the return of an old belt.
yeah, will be on there next week. So we should be seeing some territory stars in that
How
one.
did they say how many entrants were in that?
No, they didn't even mention it. I think
Okay.
they may have mentioned it at the end, but they didn't tell you how many entrants there was. You can
Okay.
imagine it's going to take up a bit of time unless they start like what I hope they don't do next week is start midway through it.
That would be yeah, if you're going to put something like that on, put the whole thing on. But the show this week was quite short. The show this week was like less than 45 minutes.
Yeah, and then like you got four
And
matches.
then if you've got the Rumble plus three matches,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's a little bit,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think we're going to join
it's
it.
mildly concerning.
I think we're going to join it midpoint. If you're, I think it's going to come on first, and it's going to be midpoint. I think. Anyway, I could be wrong on that.
I hope not, because that's a shame for those from the territories who maybe
Yeah,
don't get on TV now then, because yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
we'll see. We could be wrong. We'll see. But also on tap next week, our two favourite souls, Carson Drake, sorry, versus Brian Idol. Next week on Power. Hopefully, you both kick the shit out of each other. Other than that, the national title is on the line. Tom Latimer versus Boz. I think we
So
did it.
that's our second introduction to Boz, because we saw him against Baron von
Aaron,
Storm a couple of weeks ago.
as long as it's because this guy's name was Peter Boz. I think wasn't sure if the last guy was Peter Boz or not. I
Oh,
could.
I don't know. I haven't seen a picture of him. If I see a picture of him, I'll know who it is. But Boz, anyway, came out as Boz against Baron von
He
Storm a
did.
couple of weeks ago.
He
So,
did. And I'm certain this will be Latimer's seventh defense potentially.
ooh,
Potentially, could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty certain that he's there or thereabouts. So if he wins that, potentially he can go after the Overman at NWA 76. Now, if you've watched our prediction show, you'll know. But if you didn't, don't watch it. Spoilers. And what I'm assuming is going to be the main event, but I could be wrong. The It Girls against my favorite team in a street fight, pretty empowered, Kenzie and Kylie in a street fight.
in a street fight, yeah, this could be nasty. Girls are bitches, and girls fight hard when they're desperate. Like, obviously, Miss Star is feeling much better, and her
Oh,
neck is completely healed, and she doesn't have her neck brace on. Um, I this could be nasty.
could be. It could be indeed. I don't know what's going on with Miss Star and her neck, but yeah, to go into a street fight, either she's going to compete or she's going to come out and have somebody else take her spot. That's all I'm thinking, perhaps. But
Okay,
she didn't have the neck brace, I don't think, in the pictures.
there
Can't
you
remember
go.
that.
And it's maybe gone. I don't
Again,
know. I
I'd
can't
have to
remember.
rewatch. I'd have to rewatch that to be certain. But another solid, fun episode of NWA
It
Power.
was a lot of fun this week.
Loads of fun. Back to the Territories has kicked off with a bang, everybody. But in terms of, being busy and everything, what is going on in your world at the moment?
What is going on in my world? We just had a great show on Saturday in Glenrothes with W3 with the Rothes Foil Rumble, 20 man over the top rope, which was great. We also just crowned a brand new W3 World Champion
Really?
after the winner of the Rumble, Krieger, who won the golden ticket, cashed in his ticket the same night
Oh, good boy.
and won the world's W3 World Championship. So delighted for Krieger. Um, yeah, that was really cool. But this weekend, I head to London on Sunday. For on Monday morning, I will be picking up a certain Miss Lita from the airport. And we have our Inside the Rope show at the Dome in London on Monday. And then we'll be traveling up to Glasgow on Tuesday for the show at the Garage in Glasgow on Tuesday night, which I am absolutely buzzing for. And then on Friday the 13th, itrtix.com for tickets. There's still a few left. And then next Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th September, PBW are back in Larbert, which is always a fabulous night. It's a beautiful big town hall venue. The crowd always show up for us. It's always a good night. There's still tickets available from ringsideworld.co.uk for that. So really looking forward to that one next Friday. Should be a good time.
Definitely should. Yeah, if you haven't ever been to an Inside the Rope show, get yourself down there. It's tremendous. They always.
General admission's £29.99, and that gets you into the actual show to sit and watch the show. It's £104.99 for the pre-show meet and greet, which gets you a photograph with Lita and an item signed by her and a couple of minutes chat with her, plus the show. You can buy extra autograph tickets as well if you've got more than one item to be signed. So if you are coming to the show, don't forget to say hi because I will be there.
There you
Introduce
go.
yourself, don't be shy.
Yes, do not be shy. And I'm going to imagine Lita's going to tell some awesome stories. Certainly not one shy of controversy is our Lita over the years, that's for sure. I'm guessing
Mhm.
that may be on the agenda next week. I would assume so anyway. Those of you that don't know anything about it, just Google it. Lita, Matt Hardy Edge. Go and have your fun. That's where the beauty of real and wrestling come together. And
Absolutely,
thank you.
absolutely.
But that's where storylines sometimes are at their best when there's a real aspect to it.
There's a proper blur, isn't there? Yeah.
Mhm. I will never forget when Matt Hardy, when he was fired after all that stuff kicked off, and then he started beating Edge up on Raw through the crowd, and you're like, holy shit, what is going on? Probably some of that's going to be told on Inside the Ropes by
I
Lita.
hope so.
So,
I really
uh,
hope so.
but it will be a great night. Inside the Ropes do put on some fantastic shows, so get yourself down to the Dome or Glasgow. Was it the Grange, the
The
Garage?
garage in Glasgow
Garage.
on
Sorry,
Sutherland Street. Yeah.
the Garage. Go and get yourself down there to watch that. We just come back from Revolution Pro Wrestling on Sunday. Was really a load of fun as usual. At one of the Inside the Ropes old venues, the 229. You've been there a few times with Inside the Ropes.
Yeah, we've done a lot of shows down there.
Lovely. Although £3.40 for a can of Pepsi is a little bit steep.
They like robbery.
You have to remortgage the house. It was a little bit steep, but look, I should have got my lime and soda. Perhaps maybe it would have been cheaper. The show itself was great. Had a lot of fun at Rev Pro as usual, and not long now until Ignite returns. This 2 week Sunday. We're not doing it on the Friday the 13th. We're doing it on Sunday the 15th. Probably wise. With the luck that sometimes we get at Ignite. But yeah, Sunday the 15th, tickets are still available. Go to Eventbrite, type in Aftermath from Ignite, and you'll get the tickets. You'll get to see our champion make his first defense of the title. Mark True will be defending in a fatal four-way against CPF, and debuting from Revolution Pro, JJ Gale will be on there as well. So Charles Crowley will be there. He'll be wrestling. Yes, he is. He's wrestling the former champ. Adonis Payne. He'll be wrestling. Go and
I
get
like Mr. Crowley.
the spectacular twat himself.
He's our twat, though.
He is. He's a wonderful human being. He's a wonderful twat. Although it is a family show, so he's a trickster. This in a couple of weeks,
Sorry,
obviously.
my bad.
No, no, no. I always call him a twat anyway, so don't worry. And so does the grown-ups there. But keep an eye out on social. So ITR, is it Inside the Ropes? Is it ITR on Twitter as well?
ITRTix.com on Twitter, Inside the Ropes there. I don't even know what the ITR handle on Twitter is. That's terrible because I don't manage their socials. I just retweet everything instead, which is probably all right for me to do. I don't know what
Inside underscore the ropes.
There you go. Inside underscore the ropes. If you are coming to our events, keep an eye on the X or the Twitter page actually, because you'll get timings and things, doors, times, a reminder on the day of doors and things like that, last admission for VIP and things like that. So
Yes.
keep an eye out.
Definitely get your eye, and do not miss out. Especially if you bought a ticket, don't be late to it because you'll end up.
You will not get in.
You will not get in, and you won't get to.
And do not record any of the show because you'll get kicked out.
Ideally not, guys. This is an intimate setting to, you want to get your own, the whole point of being in those places is you get the stories that are not told generally outside of, on podcasts for argument's sake, so don't keep recording it. It'd be stupid if you did, but enjoy it. That's for sure. Yes, enjoy. So, well, we'll have to see. We will do this again next week. Day and time to be confirmed is your
probably Wednesday next week.
Probably Wednesday next week, but we will still be bringing you back to the territories. Don't fear. We'll be back next week for some more NWA fun and games. She has been the NWA queen, Miss Fiona Loughran. I have been the front man, Mr. Adam Cousins. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.